Yeah, get it on. Got to get on a choice, but to get it on, mandate, get it on. And welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Adam Carolla out here in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm in Chris Maxipata's room, and the fun's going to start after the show, sunshine. Good day, Gina Grad.
Good day to you.
And Bald Bryan.
Sometimes less is more.
I will tell you, good on the fly there. Boy, I got to tell you, first class air travel, we have now officially bottomed out. Like this is the bottom of first class. Let me explain my first class travel over here.
Well, first of all, you stole Chris's ticket, so start there.
Yeah,
Chris's
you
ticket,
didn't turn left or right, you turned down.
I got to tell you, his Coach Plus experience was no different than my first class experience, and I'll ask him about that. So, flew first class out here to Tennessee Delta last night. First things first, I know we've discussed this before. Shouldn't there be some mechanism when you go to the Delta terminal in LAX and you need to take a bus to go all the way around LAX to another point that's as far away as you can get from where you are?
The gate annex that's like only accessible by bus.
Shouldn't they put like a little green check mark on your ticket or something that connotes that? Because
It would be nice.
Yeah.
It's another 45 minutes.
right, it's like, well, what are you doing? Well, we're leaving Delta. Oh, Delta's first up at LAX. Oh, good. We'll just get dropped off at Delta. Okay, what's our gate? Gate 135. Okay, I'm going to go hang out in the captain's lounge until it's time to walk downstairs and hop on my flight. And then at some point, somebody goes, are you on the bus? You go, wait a minute, I'm the captain's.
No, in a plane.
You got to get on the bus. You're nowhere near. And I'm like, then it's like, well, what time is it? Oh, you better hustle. It's like, why can't that be discussed in advance? Now, I guess it's happened to me a couple of times, and I guess you could say, I should say, are we getting on the shuttle? But you're so used to being dropped off at the gate or dropped off in the Delta. Like you're not used to going to Southwest and then getting on a bus and going somewhere else. So
No, and you would sound insane if every time you got on a plane you said, is there a bus involved?
Also,
Right.
they have 30 gates, 2 of which are in the annex, or whatever the ratio is, 32 to 4. Feel free to mention if something out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Right. So there is the bus ride to the other place, and it always kind of catches you by surprise, and you have to hustle out. Now, we got on the flight. I swapped my ticket out with Max Zapata. I had my first class ticket, but here is the state of the union of first class air flight now. I got first off, for dinner, this is a nighttime flight. This flight took off at 5:30 in the evening LA time. So that traditionally would mean, would you like the chicken or the steak or the fish, with the serving cart and everything. Like, there are flights, I get it. They're like red-eye flights or real early morning flights. They're flights you get on the flight at 12, you get on the flight at 10:30 at night, and they just shut the lights off and go to bed. I get it. This is 5:30. This is prime time, dinner, serving time, drinks and dinner. There was a box. I was handed a box for dinner. I will tell you what
Red
was
flag instantly.
inside of the box for dinner. The box, by the way, I've been eating some sushi boxes on the ground.
Oh,
Other-
fantastic.
Ground boxes have upped their game.
That's right.
Bento boxes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good box eating on the ground. Not so much box eating in the air.
Right, Gina?
Yeah, that's right.
You want to join the half mile high club? Okay. Eat a box in the air. So I look down at my box. The contents of my box are, and no box, by the way, these are for adults in first class. This is in lieu of the serving cart where you have the choice between the shrimp and the steak. Wheat Thins, mini bag of Wheat Thins.
Oh, okay.
Your bag of Wheat Thins.
A little appetizer.
And also tell me
Amuse-bouche.
how Vinny would feel about this box. Mini bag of Wheat Thins. Mini bag of goldfish.
Oh,
This is special needs shit at this point. Like when you run a daycare center for kids with a learning disability, this is what you give them. And by the way, if you gave them this for lunch, their parents would be pissed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There was the vegetables.
Mini sack of wheat thins, mini sack of goldfish. By the way, this is on Delta. This isn't like you flying Chet Air. The guy named Chet started his own airline after he won the lottery, after he sold his dad's Corvette. Like, this is Delta. Mini bag of cheese. All right. Miniature container. I don't even know what to call it. You know those little plastic containers that butter comes in when you go to the diner?
Peel off
Sure.
the top. Yeah.
Peel off the top.
There's just enough for that one little pat.
Just enough. That was the cheese-like product that you could take the wheat thins and wipe it up with. No cheese, no solid cheese, no little pieces of cheese, nothing.
I would yank my kid out of this preschool so fast.
Weird little cheese container. I mean, the thing was 3/8 of an inch deep. It was the size of a silver dollar, and it was enough to butter up 1.5 wheat thins. Pepperidge Farms mint Milano thing.
Jesus, where's the protein?
At least it's tasty.
It's like a ball of carbs. And last but not least, a miniature sack of Skittles.
For dessert.
Yeah. Okay, Marshawn. Like, what's
Oh my God.
not flying in first class like eating a miniature sack of Skittles? That, by the way, the mini sack of Skittles is what you get when you're trick-or-treating to the guy in the bad apartment unit and you're pissed off about, right? Like,
Right.
Yep.
literally, Three Musketeers bar,
Oh,
Snickers
sure.
bar, Buttercup, anything bar, miniature pack. So for all sugar and carbs, 50 cents. I mean, when you break this shit down by unit, a miniature sack of Skittles is 3 cents for that airline. The mini sack of wheat thins is 4.5 cents. I mean, there's literally 50 cents worth of food in the dinner box. Now, we've all done like the hummus thing where it's like, I've got some hummus, got some vegetables, we can dunk it in the hummus.
Protein pack. You get like some salami or something.
Cheese and salami. No, that's it. That's a little box full of sugar and flour, and it's 50 cents. That is first class. Yes.
What's the best case scenario for the box? They hand you a box where you're like, oh God, please be blank inside. I'm thinking like a wrap or
like a
maybe
ciabatta,
chicken
like
sandwich,
a nice sandwich. Yeah.
That's the best case scenario.
The protein thing where they have like the cheese and the meat or something is fine. Oh, this had a weird, very small generic pack of salami that tasted weird. Like that is true. To their that wasn't
To their credit.
to their credit. 9 cents worth of bad salami. So
Jesus, if that was first class, did they make Chris eat his own foot?
I am a little jealous. My pack they gave me a plastic baggie full of, it had a small bag of Cheez-Its, a little bag of cookies, and a water.
Oh, that's it. All right. So
Fire festival over here.
then after eating this thing, and it's so sad, like you open the pack and you're like, God damn, this is embarrassing. I'm not going to, and then you finish off everything that's in the box.
Sure.
That's
You don't
how
have a choice.
human nature.
Yeah.
And it's all bad for you and it's all horrible and it's all empty calories. And then at a certain point, and this I've never experienced in first class, I said, she came by. Also, our stewardess, our flight attendant was not slowing down. She was just like walking past us every time and like not being our first class flight attendant at all. By the way, I've said this a million times. Once you announce safety in front of something, you can do whatever you want or not do anything you don't want. Like once you go, like, it's a safety issue. Now that is your excuse for not doing anything you're supposed to do.
There's no argument for that.
So we get no drinks, no attention. No one slows down. No one talks to us. Here, two things that have never happened to me before. At some point, Matt, DeAndrea, who's sitting on the aisle, flags down someone who's from the other cabin and says, can I order a drink? And she goes, yeah, what do you want? He goes, an IPA. And she goes, okay, and walks away. Doesn't look at me, doesn't ask. I'm just sitting there drinkless right next to him. Doesn't go, what do you want? This is 2 hours into the flight. But at a certain point, the woman comes around and she says, would you like something to drink? And I said, I will take a vodka, soda, and lemon or lime, whatever you have. And she goes, we don't have vodka. We don't have any liquor. We don't have any hard liquor, anything.
Wow.
And I said, no little mini bottles of like Grey Goose? She's like, no. And I go, okay, what do you have? We have wine in a miniature plastic bottle, super unappetizing. And by the way, all plastic cups. So you can drink your plastic bottled wine out of your plastic cup that your hand you'll implode the cup when you. So I go, okay, well, why don't you just give me the soda water then on ice? And she goes, we don't have soda water.
Oh my God.
I said,
Wow.
what do you, but you have, I didn't want it, but now I'm fishing, right? I go, you got Sprite, right? They got like soda, like Sprite and Coke. She's like, no. I'm like, you don't have soda? I thought there was this like an FAA problem here. Like, we're flying without soda?
Turn back.
My son was on this flight. She's like, no. I go, what do you have to drink on this flight? She goes, we have an IPA, we have bottled wine, and we have water.
Wow.
That's it. There's nothing else. He said, nothing else. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, there's a pandemic and you're, cutting corners and tightening belts and stuff. But first class, you're flying first class Delta on a 4-hour flight, maybe 4-hour plus to Nashville. There's not don't people get upset stomachs and want to settle their stomachs and they drink a 7-Up or soda water? Or,
Yeah.
what if
Ginger ale.
someone spills one of the plastic wines on their blouse? Don't we have to use the soda water to get it out? It's like, we don't have it.
Adam, I had a very different outlook on my flight, yet an extremely similar experience. Because I sat in the next, like the Comfort Plus seats. And it pretty much is first class because they don't seat the middle seats on a plane, so which is great. And then the last few times that we've flown, they've only served water. So when the guy in front of me got a beer, I got really excited. I said, oh my God, they have beer here? I'm going to buy this beer. I know it's supposed to be in first class, but I will pay for this beer happily. And they gave it to me for free because we shared the same stewardess. So
Wow.
You got a free beer.
Yeah. And I had the games going. It was wonderful. I was watching the Titans game in a Tennessee plane.
Yeah, so you got a free beer. I got a free beer, except for I paid an extra $800 for my ticket. And then you got a box with nothing in it, goldfish.
Yeah.
I got a box with nothing in it.
Your box looked like a Happy Meal. It was just this thin cardboard box.
Right.
I'm surprised a toy didn't come with it.
And you had leg room. You had the same. You essentially had a first class ticket because first class has been dumbed down to coach. Like literally no glasses. Like you can't have a glass physically of wine or a glass of beer or champagne. Everything was just in a plastic cup, the kind that are in the bathrooms and bad motels. That's it. And again, I obviously there's a meeting. Like somebody goes, look, man, these are lean times. We got to cut the Sprite out of these long flights or whatever. But how does that go? Like there's no, also, if I were flight attendant, I would smuggle Sprite onto that goddamn flight and a soda water. I'm not going to tell people in first class who ask for a Jack and Coke, we don't have a miniature bottle of Jack Daniels and we don't have a miniature cup. It's at night. It's a nighttime long flight.
Matt DeAndrea, who sat next to you in first class, came back to me saying the same things. They don't have soda water here. This is crazy. But look, they only sat half of first class. I bet you can come up there and join us. And I looked over, saw your food. I'm good.
First class was a push from coach for Max Pato.
Yeah, these days I can't imagine why you. I mean, and Max Pato or Chris, was it like a dinky little plane?
It was a 737.
It was a turn right first class. No doubt about it. Nothing spectacular, but it was the kind of thing that in the past you're giving up a little knee room and you're not flying in the full, coffin with the full recline and the whole, cocoon and everything like that. But you would have made up for it in booze on ice. Mm-hmm. And now they've eliminated. I can't believe they got rid of the hard stuff, the little mini traveler bottles. There were 8 people in first class, like all total. Like you could have literally, like when you go to Vendome or wherever you buy your booze, and they have those little sort of mini packs of like the Tito's Travelers. It's like a little
flight.
cardboard thing, and they're little 1.5 ounce, and they're the size of a brick, and there's 10 little Tito's bottles in there. That's all you would have needed for that entire flight. Like that's all it would have taken. One of that for a Jack Daniels, one for Tito's, you'd be covered. Nope, they ain't doing it.
Yeah, I'm surprised because they weren't serving any drinks the last few flights we've been on, and then they moved to beer and wine. What's the difference with adding the hard liquor now that you've opened it up?
Well, we weren't in first class our last few flights. We were like Southwest.
But that was water only for everybody.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. All right, look, there's never been a better time to bring your own booze on a flight, people. I mean, it's gonna turn into like we're gonna have to start tailgating before we get onto that plane. Like,
Oh yeah.
this is a no booze stadium. Like, we're going to have to meet you at LAX in parking lot D about 2 hours before we leave. We're just going to fucking sit out in the back and get loaded before we climb onto that flight. Because
DELTA, Delta.
yeah, we're going to have to do that. We're going to have to do like when you go to the Hollywood Bowl, and you just sit out and picnic and bring your own booze, right?
And you know why you do that? Because you know in advance.
Right.
Literally the least they can do is let you know that this is how it's going to go down for 4.5 hours. So prepare yourself.
Yeah, they should tell you, here's this, you think you bought a first class ticket. Let me explain.
Congratulations.
You're going to spend 30% of your time on a municipal bus, and there shall be no booze. It'll be in a plastic jar. So good luck. Like, know that going in emotionally.
Adam, did you
And
watch?
by all means, tell you after your credit cards run. Just make sure you know before you get on the plane.
Did you watch any movies? Did you
No,
look at the
no, I was
selection?
too busy complaining to Matt about
There were 2 movies on the plate. You select all movies. It was 2 movies. It was Zodiac and Uncle Buck.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So random. What the heck?
So that's what we did. We got in pretty late. Got to the hotel about 1. The low information hotel. This is I was told at breakfast. Max Pata was not there. He was setting up down at the Z Car convention for Matt and I. But I was told there's 3 of us, and this is one of those perfect things because not only did the person behind the desk screw up, but then Matt altered his plan. So the deal was I had a room. Chris and Matt were going to share a room with 2 separate beds inside of the room. And we checked in at about 1 a.m. last night. I got my room, and then Chris and Matt got their room, and they went to their room, and there was a single queen-size bed.
Oh, cozy.
And then
Oh.
so Matt said,
Romantic.
we got to switch to a room with 2 beds. And
I said fine.
it was it wasn't that. Yeah, and isn't it gayer when you go to a room with 2 beds and you both end up in the same bed? Like,
Bunk together.
that's
Yeah.
gayer, right? At least there's an excuse.
It's-
At least the cleaning woman has context when you have 2 beds.
We like to lie in
one
a
bed.
new bed each night. That's
All
why.
right. So you guys then at 1 a.m. like go down to switch rooms, and what do you find out?
Oh, so we go into the room with the 2 twin beds. I look at our reservation, and we both have.
So you switch to the 2
Yeah.
twins. So you
Yeah.
get rid of the one.
We get rid of the one. We go downstairs. We switch our keys. Go
Right.
back up to the 20th floor, and now we have 2 twin beds. We're in bed. We're all unpacked. We brushed our teeth. We're under the covers, looking at our phone. I'm reading the emails for the show tomorrow, and I look at our reservations, and I notice that Matt and I have 2 different confirmation numbers.
Oh.
So I ask Matt, and he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. So we look at it, and he says, you should call and check. And I call the front, and I go, hey, this is, and she knows our name. She's like, oh, hey, Matt DeAndre, what's going on? And I say, I just want to see is there another reservation? She goes, yeah.
Oh my God.
There's 3 total? Yeah. And you saw 3 of us walking in?
So is this information you'd like to share with the people in your empty lobby at 1 a.m. who are checking into your hotel after flying all day? Like,
It was so matter of fact when she said it. I couldn't believe it.
Well, this is my Mike August thing. Where it's like, you didn't ask. Like,
It was very Mike August.
you're the person who works at the place with the rooms. Why didn't you just present this information to us up
And
front?
then
There's a
and then Chris
third-
hangs up the phone. Matt asks, and he goes, "Nope, no change."
Right. There's a third room and there's 3 adult males, and you don't offer that up. You just
And
go,
and the
"Here are
fact that we
2."
called to switch to a room with 2 beds.
Oh my
Right.
God.
So
We're confused.
now Matt has switched to a room with 2 beds versus the 1 bed, and he has to sleep with the vacant bed, which always it just taking up space and not using it, whatever. So you go through that whole rigmarole, and there is a 3rd room for you.
So, Chris, you left again, or you stayed and snuggled?
I left again. Well, one, because Matt said that he didn't want to raise any questions with both of us going, because Nissan paid for the room, so he didn't want us to look like we only used 2 rooms and we made them pay for nothing. So it just looks better that we use the other room.
And also, speaking of the hotel, now here's the big dilemma we're all in. They give you the breakfast gift card, the gift card that's good at the shop down below. You could get a breakfast sandwich or a protein drink, and you could eat breakfast at the diner and blah, blah, blah. Each card is good for $48. Or maybe it's 40.
Oh, no,
50.
it's 48.
$48.
Yeah.
So now you have to think about the wiring of Matt, me, and Chris. So me and Matt eat our breakfast, and it comes to like $45. So
Oh,
we
no.
pay with the card, no problemo. But then Matt says, "Let me take a card, and I'm going to go to the shop and get a Red Bull." Well, the Red Bull's $5. The card, once you give them the card, it's no good anymore. So if you want to spend $48 for a Red Bull, you can, but the card is good for $48, and whenever you lay it down, that's what it's worth. So if
Can't be reused.
if you ordered $14 worth of Red Bull and breakfast sandwich, that card for $50 is now gone.
Yeah.
So
I also found that
Right.
out this morning.
So Matt buys his Red Bull with cash. No, he charges it to the room, which
Oh,
means
good.
let Nissan pay for it. Now I
Yeah,
got
savvy.
I'm not going to pay $48 for Red Bull. But then he comes back to the table and he's like, not only do we have 3 of these cards left, but when Chris got his room last night, he got 2 more cards. So now we got to figure out a way to get $48 worth of sandwiches onto that plane. Times 5 now. So like Matt's like scheming. And I know Chris is scheming too. And I'm scheming too because it's all my wiring. I would never go, screw the card, leave it on the bed. Like I'd be like,
No.
we are going to use that card. We're going to clean them out of breakfast sandwiches, and I will hand them out on that goddamn plane. And by the way,
We cut to the next show. Adam sipping out of a mug that says Nashville Airport Hilton.
yes, I will get 3 blowjobs on that plane when I hold up a breakfast sandwich and they look down at their burnt offerings of their Skittles and crackers. I will get a blowjob in the bathroom of that airplane if I have one of those breakfast sandwiches. So now the pressure's on us because I think we have 4 more of these cards now. I used one for breakfast.
I used one this morning.
You made a mistake of using one?
Yeah.
You didn't know.
No, I had no idea. When I go to the restaurant and it's just this
You
little.
bought like a latte for $48?
Well, no. So I sit down at the restaurant and I'm looking at the menu and it says show this to your service and you sit down. So I show it to her and she says, "What do you want?" And I'm looking and it's like $15 an omelet. Mm-hmm. And I go, "Oh, so what can I get?" Because I thought, it's probably good for $10, and then I
Right.
pay the extra $5. And she goes, "Oh, it's good for $48."
Right.
And I go, "Oh, wow, okay." So I ordered like the mega omelet, which is $18, and then she's just helping me get all these sides. 'Cause
Pat it.
she's trying to rack it up too because it's included gratuity. It has an 18% gratuity.
Oh.
Helping me rack this up as close to
Triple Bloody Mary.
Oh, because
As we
she's getting
could.
18% of 48.
Yeah.
So,
So I was hurting this morning.
so
I ate it
now,
all.
ate it all. So now we got to figure out a way to max out those last 4 cards. So we got essentially $200 or $92 worth of stuff, and we got to go into that snack shack and clean that place out before we get on that flight tomorrow.
Well, luckily we've had the experience with Casino Bucks, so I feel like I know what I'm doing here.
Seasoned veteran.
Can we use? I know we did the Casino Bucks thing with stupid Mike, and Mike's ordering like the pork fried rice and the shrimp fried rice. I'm like, you're filling
No.
up on carbs, Mike. Come on.
Crab legs.
That was the funniest story when we were at like PF Chang's in Atlantic City, and Mike and I were obsessed. Like, we got to spend $300 on this sitting. We got to max out this thing, and at some point, a couple of drinks came over, and it's like the table, the husband and wife team, like, hey, Ace man, love your work. We're like, take it back.
You went full Jimmy Conway.
Yeah, we're like, get it.
Send it back.
Send it back. Take it. They're like, enjoy your cocktail. We're like, no, we're buying you drinks. Like, what? We're leaving. Take it. Like, it was like we're so obsessed with Max. And by the way, you can pad the shit out of it with drinks because
Oh, yeah.
cocktails, you get to $75 like pretty fast.
This is Brewster's Millions Restaurant Edition.
Right. We should use those at the bar. Can we use those at the bar? No bar.
I try. No alcohol.
Oh, God damn
Oh,
it.
my God. They know what they're doing.
Bless you for trying to drink at 8:45 in the morning. I like where
Some
your head's at.
mimosas,
I
yeah.
like where your head's at, son, before you make the drive. The 40-minute drive out to Nissan. So there's that. One other thing I got to address, which is sound. Now, we've kind of discussed this. We were talking about this the other day, which is like, I think we were talking about it yesterday, which is like in 2000 and almost 21, why all the power lines strung on the old grisly telephone poles littering the landscape? Can I say this? Sound pollution. So there's a giant construction project going on next door to this hotel. Anyone who stayed in Manhattan understands that you can be on the 28th floor, but the sirens going up and down the street are clear as a bell. Like in a weird way, almost more clear on the 20th floor than they are in the 5th floor. I don't feel like there's any drop off between. So, we got in at 1 a.m. We got a long day today. I'm trying to get some sleep, and it's 7 a.m. It's just neat, because there's the construction site, and there's all the cement trucks, and they're backing up all the skip loaders, and every single thing. I mean, like Ford pickup trucks now have the neat, and I'm just starting to think to myself, how many of those have you heard versus how many have you ever stepped aside? Like, has anyone ever used it? Everyone's on a construction site. Put your head on a swivel. Shit's moving around. Fine. But technologically, can we do better than the 50 decibels that comes out of the speaker, the bumper, that just lets everyone from a 4-mile radius know we're working at 7:05 in the morning? Just neat, garbage trucks coming up and down the street, municipal trucks, like neat. Like, I used to live in the canyon. I would hear the garbage trucks on the other side of the canyon. Like, I could see them a half mile away on the other side, just just all the way through the canyon. Sometimes the guys just put it in reverse and just keep it there, and they're not even moving or rolling. But is there a sound that can be heard by dogs or humans that are standing 10 feet behind this truck that is not necessarily a universal sound that will carry up into the heavens? And as I lay in my hotel bed on floor 23 with you guys, 250 feet below me and across the street, where I won't lay in bed and just hear like it, I'm 300 feet away from the back of this cement truck. Why is it clear as a bell to me? And if it is, shouldn't we work it out so that the person who's 10 feet behind the truck can hear it, but the person that's 300 feet behind the truck doesn't hear it? And is there a frequency, a tone, or something that will work, or even a light combo? Yes, Gina, Grad.
Yeah, the answer is yes. There should be, and apparently there is, because I remember a few years ago we did a story like this, but what I just pulled up doesn't sound like the one that we've spoken about in the past. This is from 2015. So where's the retrofitting? This one says the new alarms produce a hissing noise, and the sound is directional, so pedestrians can identify where it's coming from. The alarm can also be set at much quieter levels, as they use a broadband frequency that can be localized. So yes, it is possible.
Right.
Let's get on board.
Literally have a bunch of guys working construction. When I did construction, you were rolled out by 7 a.m. That's just how it goes. It's 7 a.m. to 3:30. You have a whole bank of a huge high-rise. We're staying at a JW Marriott, I think. It's The restaurant on the top's like on the 35th floor. I mean, this place has 800 units in it. And if you go an entire side of this hotel faces that construction site, and everybody who's in one of those rooms wakes up at 7:05 when the action starts. Why can't we calibrate this? Why can't we work this in? Like, why can't we figure it out? Like I said, yeah, it makes the hissing sound. Like my grandfather, when he used to wake me up to take a piss when I was 9 years old after he'd watched Johnny Carson at 1 a.m., he'd just come in and go, he'd make a weird little sound like a
That's it.
And I'd wake up.
Yeah.
Like he would go, beep, beep, beep. I would just wake up. It's doable.
Well, and the very last line of this paragraph is the alarm volume will adjust automatically to the background noise so as not to be any louder than necessary.
Right. So the moral of the story is it exists.
Everything's possible.
Everything's possible, but the part you really need to know about life is the guy who's driving the truck is awake, is getting paid, is not traveling, is not staying in the hotel, and it doesn't mean two shits to him whether he wakes up an entire side of a building or not, because he's dressed, he's in a loveless relationship, and he's driving a cement truck. And we need to get him to care. That's the difference. All the people that could change it are awake and get paid. They're on a construction site, so they don't care.
It's, I think about this all the time in Los Angeles. It's like the guy with his windows rolled up who won't lay off his horn. He is literally the one person who can't hear it the way everybody else does.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, motivation. All right, let me hit Red Cap here, making workwear and uniforms since 1923, the year of my first house up in Lake Hollywood, everybody. And championing the men and women, making our communities thrive. Their latest project is for road heroes, truckers. That's right. Love these guys. I mean, we've talked about it a little during this pandemic, but you talk about the guys, the first responders, and the guys who are working at the supermarket and the Trader Joe's and the gas stations, all that. How about the guys driving the trucks? How about the guys keeping the gas station tanks filled? How about the guys keeping the shelves filled at Trader Joe's? So everyone else is in that fetal position underneath the bed, not the truckers. Red Cap is rolling into Trucker Appreciation Week with the trucker tab. It is $50,000. It's a $50,000 tab at Cracker Barrel to feed all our long haulers, and you can check it out at truckertab.com. And just thank a trucker next time you see him. Or do that move on the highway. We do the horn honk, hand fist, downward Doug move that was the best part of my childhood. And get some steak and eggs to a trucker. They'll make a donation. Truckertab.com. Red Cap, workwear, done right. All right, we will take ourselves a break. What are we doing when we come back, Max Zapata? Little more Max
Kibitzing.
Little kibitz talk.
You have a dishwasher rant that I think people need to hear.
I got a dishwasher rant that you people need to hear, and I got thoughts. We'll do that right after this. All right, so I'm here in Max Zapata's room. I'm heading off to now. While I'm in Nashville, I'm heading to another part of Tennessee to do the Nissan thing. It's kind of nice. I always talk to you guys about don't feel like you're part of a club, especially with your ethnicity or your heritage or whatever. It's just this America. Go out, make hay while the sun shines and all that kind of stuff. But that being said, I will say I'm out here with the Z Club guys, and I got a bunch of Datsun Z cars. It's kind of nice when people know who you are and know what you got and know you drive them and race them and all that stuff. So that's what I'm out here doing. I think Tennessee is Nissan moved out of where did he say they were?
Osaka?
Gardena. No, they were in then they were in Gardena, California.
Yeah, that's right.
They moved out here to Tennessee. It's probably been 8 years, maybe 10 years.
Are you going to swing by?
Yeah,
BMW.
BMW.
God, yeah.
I think BMW's out here too.
Are you going to
say
swing by
VW,
Pigeon
yeah.
Forge?
Sorry. Say it again, Gina.
Are you going to swing by Pigeon Forge? See Dolly's house?
Oh, yeah. I did see a Dollywood sign on the freeway. Yeah, it was a big deal.
And you're not going? What a
And,
waste.
and VW may be out here. You're probably right. BMW moved to one of the Carolinas, I think, as I
Okay.
recall, but to try to clear it up. But I do remember, I think Drew and I were doing a college out in one of the Carolinas once, and we were up in first class back when they had glasses. And
Wake Forest.
Alan Thicke was, yeah, probably one of those. Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out.
Yeah, I can't remember, but Alan Thicke was on our flight. That's
Wow.
all. With his third wife, who was like, Miss whatever, runner-up Kentucky, whatever. But so here's a couple thoughts. I just found out. Tell me what you guys think of this. I got a text from one of my car guys that Tom Cruise's race car from when he raced with Paul Newman. So in the Newman documentary, they show that part where they met doing Color of Money, and then Paul said to Tom, now it's all making sense with Tom doing his crazy dirt bike wheelie pack, jumping off the ramps with all the motorsport stuff. But he said to young Tom, like, hey, you want to come racing? I'm going racing. And then I bet Nissan would love to build you a car and get you a sponsorship and blah, blah, blah. And so Cruise had a race car built for him by Newman Sharp, his race team, and Nissan. And he was racing in a lower division in his 200SX. And Newman was driving in the Z cars, this slightly higher division, but they'd be in the same race weekends and everything. And I have from back in the day, from Bob Sharp, I have Tom's fire suit and Tom's helmet from back then. And now his car, I think, is coming up for sale. So that would be an interesting little chapter, get a little mannequin, put the fire suit on it, put the helmet on it, and then do get the car from back in the day.
What's the estimate on that?
I have no idea. I just got a text before I got onto the plane, and I feel bad because I texted the guy back. The guy sent me a text, and I was like, oh, all right. And I texted him back on the plane. But it's not going through because, I don't know. I can't text on a plane. But I was like, yeah, when I land, it'll go through. And then when I woke up this morning with the need at 7:30, I looked at it and it was like, oh, it hasn't gone through yet. And I just hit send. And then I realized that I just texted him at 5 in the morning his time because I got a 2-hour time difference. And he texted me right back. So he's a winner, man.
I was gonna say that's on him if that wakes him up. You got to turn your phone on Do Not Disturb.
I concur, but he texted me right back. So I have no idea, but it'll be interesting, and it could be a nice little corner of the museum with all the Tom Cruise stuff going on out there. We have the dishwasher bit that was from Ace on the House. I had a small conniption with the Stromer to play as well. And then what else did I want to get into around here? Well, why don't we just do that? So I was doing Ace on the Roof with Ace on the House with Stromer last week. Somebody asked a question about a second dishwasher. I threw a small fit about it, and I thought it'd be funny to play that. So we'll play that, and then we'll talk about it when it's done. I've gone through this my adult life. The other day, I opened the drawer where the silverware was, and there was no forks. And then Olga said, it's in the dishwasher. And then you open the dishwasher, and you have to fiddle around a little because the knives and the forks or whatever, and you find the one you want, you poke your finger, and you pull it out. And then you have this discussion. Is the stuff in the dishwasher, is it clean or is it dirty? And then you go, I don't know. I think then you pull it out and you sniff it. And then maybe you wash it, rinse it off anyway, just not taking a chance. I then make this proclamation. We stand at the sink and we dutifully rinse off everything and often wipe off everything that goes into the dishwasher. why not spend an extra 8 seconds on every item and then put it in the rack, and then we will have our plates? When everyone clears out of the house, I'll have like a plate, a bowl, and a spoon, and I'll eat some cottage cheese out of the bowl, and then I just go to the water and I rinse it out with hot water and I rub it out and I just set it back in the thing. And then everyone else says to me, "Oh my God, that's gross." And I go, "I don't get why it's gross. There's nothing in the bowl." Yeah, but it's not really clean. And I go, "Well, it's dry. It's dry. It dries overnight. There's nothing can live on this dry surface." And they go, then they'll turn to their friend. This is how chicks think. They go, "You know how the stuff when you wash it, but you don't put it in the dishwasher, has that weird, like, musty smell?" And then their friend goes, "Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I know exactly. Oh, you do. You do, nutty, crazy gypsy women from the hills. You know what by the way, you want me to rinse one out and then get one from the fucking dishwasher, and we'll do a thing. We'll hang your kid over a fucking pit of alligators, and you tell me if you can smell the difference, you gypsy witches." And they go, "Okay, of course they can." And then they go, "But it needs to be clean." And I go, "It is clean. It's clean. You're at the sink. You just wash it out." And it's like, "Yeah, but it's not really clean." And also they start gauging it like, "Well, maybe if you ate a plate of doll hair, that would be fine. But you're eating lasagna, and that leaves a film. It leaves a grease." I was like, "You're at the sink. You're running hot water. You have a sponge. Just wash it and then just set it in the fucking rack. It's 8 inches away." No, you want to fucking load up the dishwasher, put all the shit in it, run the dishwasher, which is a huge fucking suck. It's like a huge
hour and a half.
It's a huge energy suck. And then later on, open it up and then pull all the shit out. The worst posture ever is the thing. The fucking dishwasher drawer, the action is always bad on the rack. Like the action, you pull it out, it gets off its tracks. It's like, is it on its track? No, just binding. Lift it up when you push it back. Or because we own sinks, hot, clean water, soap, and sponges and brushes and everything else, we could just clean our plates. We're 3/4 into the cleaning process. I mean, let's really break down the process of cleaning a goddamn plate. First, transportation. We got to get it from the table to the sink. Okay, that part has been done. Then part 2, we must run water, hot water, onto the plate and rinse it off and or wipe it off under the hot water. Okay, part 2. Now, part 3 is you put it in the dishwasher, run the dishwasher, and then unload the dishwasher. My part 3 is adding 11 seconds to part 2 and then putting it in the motherfucking rack, which is sitting right there. And then everyone looks at me and goes, "Yeah, but that's gross." Yeah. And I go, how do you think everyone has done it through time immemorial? Number one. Number two, that's how we do it here. It's just glasses and cups and plates, and people just wash it off and put it in a fucking rack. And it's like, we need a second dishwasher. I'm like, for what? I don't get it. Just what if everybody just here's a crazy idea. It's a fad that could sweep the nation. What if people were just responsible for their own plate? But they went like, "Hey, use that plate." Then you just go rinse that plate off. You wash that plate off, and you just put it in the rack, and then it dries in the rack, and then you reuse that plate. But why such an exotic idea? Is that an exotic idea? I'm not working a fucking AIDS hospice. I don't need to sterilize everything that fucking leaves the kitchen. It's a fucking plate. It had this kind of food on it one night, then it's going to have that kind of food on it the next night. We're not fucking surgeons. What's going on? Just fucking it had chicken on it last night. Good, rinse it off. Then we'll have steak the next night. What is this thing where it's like, but it smells weird. Well, then maybe you're not doing a good job of cleaning it. Right. But I bet you have access to hot water. You have access to suds. You have access to sponges with the Brillo pad side on it. Just fucking wipe it down and put it in the rack. Oh, yeah. Well, here we are.
Here. I have very, very similar thoughts on the dishwasher. I haven't had a dishwasher in over 2 years.
Everyone disagrees.
I got to, my two thoughts are A, growing up, there was nothing I hated more than unloading the dishwasher.
Sucks.
Anybody who drew that straw, it was the worst. I hate dealing with dishwashers. And also, you know why the reason why your plates smell musty after you use a sponge? Because that's a dirty fucking sponge you should have thrown away. If you replace your sponges like a human being, you will never have that problem. We don't have a dishwasher. I never think about it.
I got to tell you, my least popular takes in my adult life are Beastie Boys, Prince, and dishwashers. People
In that order.
universally disagree with me on those three takes, but God bless you, Gina Grad. You're with me on this
Yeah,
one.
no problem with this at all. In fact, I personally find doing the dishes like after dinner, like if they're going to go play in the other room, I find it kind of like calming. I'll just stand there. I'll do the dishes. I have my little squishy mat that I stand on, and that's kind of like a relaxing time for me. And then they're done. And then we move on with our lives.
Yeah, I think we're sort of germ obsessed here. I also think about how much energy and how much material, like how much water and how much like draining and heating and spin cycling and stuff, like our sort of obsession. Like if you think about this country, our obsession with cleanliness and hygiene probably costs a lot of well, not probably, definitely costs tons of natural resources, like showering every day with a hot shower for 10 minutes, you know, and sudsing up, or using the dishwasher every night and that kind of stuff. Like it just probably, they don't really get into it when we're talking about resources and renewables and, you know, there's no green. It's funny when the green energy department, like in the world of green energy, we're like obsessed with travel. You know, it's always about cars and planes. But I don't know, everyone just washing the shit out of everything all the time. Like, you know, if I have a T-shirt and I like sweat up that T-shirt, I just air dry it and I'll put on the T-shirt the next day. I mean, I'm not going to a wedding or bar mitzvah. I'm just gonna get sweaty again. Like if we dialed it down a little bit, like, oh yeah, you got your plates, rinse them off, suds them up, and put them in the rack, let them air dry. Don't worry about the spots. Don't worry about the sterilization of everything. And kind of the same with yourself. Like, hey, if you just took a quick cold rinse every day and hopped out of the shower versus the long hot, suds it up, boil the water, you know, natural gas or whatever it is, we could put a dent in energy savings. But we are so married to it, and it's interesting because in the hygiene aspect of it, we've turned it into a sort of a thing where it's like, oh, it's so gross, it's so smelly, like you got to clean off, you got to use that shampoo, like you got to use the antibacterial soap, like you got to suds it down and wash it off, otherwise it's gross. And we've done the same thing in the kitchen, like it's just gross. It's all, I think it's driven mostly by women, but I don't know, I think guys are on board with this too now.
Well, and just to add to your point, when you said, and we don't know, are these clean or are these dirty? Guess what a lot of people's answers are? I don't know. Just to be safe, run it again.
Yeah, run it again.
And also,
now you're really wasting energy.
it started to dawn on me that if I pull the plate out of the dishwasher
And dial
it in, and I look at it, I look at the plate and I can't tell if it's clean or dirty. Maybe it's clean. Like maybe you spent so much time rinsing it off and wiping it down before you put it in the dishwasher that it's ostensibly clean as you're putting it into the dishwasher. Mm-hmm. Anyway, remember Madge, who
dishpan hands.
Yes, she worked for Palmolive or whatever, and she was a manicurist, and she would say, you're soaking in it. This was a theme. We got to figure this one out. So basically, here's the theme. We missed this commercial. In the pantheon of all those commercials of like, he never has a second cup of my coffee, like the dutiful wives, like that. These women are washing so many dishes that they essentially have dishpan hands.
Yeah, that was a big thing when I was younger, dishpan hands.
Yeah, essentially what athlete's foot is to the track star.
Tennis elbow.
You, wife, spend so many hours a day washing my dishes that there's now a syndrome attached to this activity. It's called dishpan hands. And Palmolive, I think, has created a product that can do away with this scourge known as dishpan hands. So now Madge, who's the Palmolive spokesperson, also seems to work in a nail salon. And when people are coming into her nail salon and they're soaking their hands in this bowl of water, which is, I guess you would do it, you would then announce, sorry, Madge, I have dishpan hands from doing all my dishes. And she'd say, you should switch to Palmolive. That will not give you dishpan hands. And then you go Palmolive, and then Madge says, you're soaking in it. I run a salon where you soak your fingers in dishwashing detergent. All right, let's see if we can see it.
Yep.
I just came from a rummage sale, Madge.
Oh, I was wondering where you got these hands.
Oh, it's dishwashing. What'll I try?
Everything. And use Palmolive dishwashing liquid. It softens your hands while you do the dishes. You're soaking in it.
In dishwashing liquid?
It's Palmolive.
Mild?
Well, more than mild. Makes loads of suds that last. And no kidding, Palmolive softens hands while you do the dishes.
Madge, Palmolive's
Later.
as good as gold.
I better get these to Fort Knox.
Now you sit around, you turn on the TV, and there's like the biracial couple, and it's the AIDS medication, and you're
Yeah.
like, what is going on with this commercial again? And like, it was simpler times.
Yeah, and speaking of dishwashing soap and good vibes, I can dovetail these nicely together, because you know how for soap, the thing we want to know most about is, will it clean, what the atomic sludge off of my plates?
Right.
Well, remember when Dawn totally pivoted? I would love Christy's thoughts on this, because it worked on me. It worked on the ladies. When Dawn completely went a different direction, never addressed cups, forks, spoons, plates, and just said, with the Exxon Valdez oil spill, this is the
That's
soap
right.
of choice to wipe off the little baby ducks
Feel good.
and the little baby, all the waterfowl, and they got a customer for life now. They wipe off the ducks with it.
They should have piggybacked and the grease the Peking duck leaves on the plate after you order it. Like,
Speaking of ducks.
get it both coming and going.
I
Yeah,
will ask Christy about that, because their parent company is Procter & Gamble, which she worked for many years.
Because talk about, that was amazing. And I would say, even if you thought it was stupid, it worked.
the beginning of the good vibes era.
That's right.
Madge, soaking and dishwashing
No, thank you.
detergent, and used to. And also, we were very shame based back then. Like, oh, look who's got dishpan hands. Oh, you think my husband notices? Like, everyone was like worried about their house not being clean, or the
Right.
mother-in-law with the white glove, or the coffee not being up to snuff, or like your spots. I used to do. There was a Calgon spot maker or Calgonite spot maker commercial where it's like embarrassed, like the whole, every third commercial, here was the theme. My husband's boss and his wife are coming to dinner and everything must be perfect. And then at some point, the boss's wife looks at the wine glass with the spots on it, makes a sort of snarky remark about it, and you go into a shame spiral.
Dinner's
Husband
ruined.
gets fired the next day.
Dinner's ruined.
If that happened now, just be like, hey, old bitch, get the fuck out of here. Who fucking needs your bitchy ass in my fucking house? Fuck you. Like, that's what it'd be now. But now it's like shame spiral. Like that. And everyone's looking at her like, oh my God, there's spots on the wine glasses.
Yeah, that Madge campaign ran from 1966 to 1992.
92.
My God.
Dicks.
Says.
92, Madge was large and in charge with the Palmolive over there. And by the way, that was most of my childhood. Like, I just remember going, huh, good, Madge. Let's check in with Madge. What's she up to? There's like, the most entertainment I had in my childhood was, hey, there's a Palmolive commercial coming on. Let's see if Madge has changed her hair. Oh, she's got a little salt and pepper in there. I guess she's getting a little long in the tooth. So it was like, let's check out where Madge is. Maybe Madge is working at a new salon now. Sometimes they'd mix it up where like Madge would go to the person's house, and talk
Mm.
about Palmolive. There's different environments for Madge. So a lot of my entertainment was from either seeing what's going on with Madge, seeing what's going on with Juan Valdez, the Hills
Oh,
brothers.
sure.
Oh, sure.
Juan would pick the beans for Hills brothers.
He'd be outside your window.
I could always remember. I remember having these weird, your earliest comedic thoughts are sort of in commercials. Like when you're a kid, you want to do parodies, like you want to do these little wacky pack type parodies and stuff of commercials. And I remember very early comedic thoughts I was having, and they were like Seinfeld routine thoughts, but I was having them when I was 10, but I didn't know what they were, which is one of the ones, I think Hills Brothers or U-Ban or one of these coffee commercials. They had like Juan Valdez, and Juan Valdez had his pack mule, and he's roaming the hills of Colombia, and he's like picking no bean before it's time. Like he's looking.
Oh, right.
He's looking under a leaf. It's like, this one's a little green. He's thumping it. Like, this is one bean. Like, Hills Brothers sells 400 million metric tons of coffee worldwide every year. There's no way one guy with a pack mule is going, this one's not quite right. I'll come back tomorrow and pick this bean, this one bean, But I remember watching that, and then they had a companion piece, and I think it was Hills Brothers, but it could have been another one, which is the super picky Hills Brother coffee broker. He bought coffee beans, right? And so he would be at the port, and he'd be in his like shack at the port, and like the guy would come in and go, would you like to buy these beans? And he'd like sniff them and go, not good enough for Hills Brothers, like not good enough. And then the next guy would come in and go, would you purchase our beans? Like, no, we have standards. And I remember being 10 going, at some point you got to make a fucking pot of coffee, right? Like somebody's going to have to buy a bean or pick a bean here.
No coffee this year.
Yeah, how are we going to keep the shelves at the Alpha Beta stocked with Hills Brothers if all your guys are giant snobs and no bean is good enough for them?
Apparently, this is what I'm learning here, Juan Valdez was not a spokesperson for a brand, specifically like Folger or something like that. He was a spokesman for the National Federation of Coffee Growers of Colombia. Kind of like, you have real California cheese,
Right.
you have milk, Got Milk, that wasn't for any brand of
the Hot Dog
milk.
Defense League that Cesar
Yeah, exactly.
generic organization. They defend all hot dogs. Versus, yes, he represented the beans, the Colombian beans, and the Hills Brothers guy, I guess, was the broker, and nothing was good enough for him.
Wow.
All right. Oh, let me hit a spot here. Speaking of commercials here. Oh, ZipRecruiter hiring. Well, hiring is hard normally, but not now. Now you got ZipRecruiter. And there's all sorts of government regulations and all sorts of rules going on with COVID right now. So it's a little bit tricky to navigate. But ZipRecruiter, well, they're your friend. They can help. Monica Starks needed to hire for her construction company, GS Group, but was having a hard time finding folks and good qualified candidates. So she switched to ZipRecruiter. And when she switched to ZipRecruiter, she found candidates and invites them to apply, as ZipRecruiter does. And she's found Lamont Jenkins. Found him in 5 minutes after she posted on the job site on ZipRecruiter. Now she's hired accountants and project managers and field scientists, and all done it through ZipRecruiter. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first... Ooh. Now we got an alarm set.
It's jarring.
Now we'll fix that. I'll try it. 4 out of 5 employers who post with ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Right, Dawson?
See for yourself how ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. Try it now for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/Adam. That's ZipRecruiter.com/ADAM. ZipRecruiter.com/Adam.
Gina?
We forgot a very, very important part of 70s commercials that if you asked anyone born after, I don't know, 1990, what this was, they would have no idea. Ring around the collar. Big problem in the 70s and 80s.
Another big shame vortex for a wife to fall into. Like,
yeah, what a failure as a homemaker.
your shirt, it would have ring around the collar.
Yeah.
one would notice it at a cocktail party, and you were
It's over.
kaput as a wife. Yes, they were all. So many of these commercials were kind of based on the woman and shame, and not basically. It was a combination between not pleasing her man and not keeping up with the Joneses, like not pleasing her man and then being outed by the other wife who did use Woolite or whatever, got rid of ring around the collar, not embarrassed.
Yeah, and then she takes pity on you and gives you her secret.
Yeah,
She pulls you aside.
Yeah.
And then there was, of course, the ancient Chinese secret too.
Oh, that's right.
Calgonite.
Calgon, yeah.
Calgonite.
Calgon.
Calgon did the bath stuff.
Calgon, take me away. I have a list here. Let's see.
Right.
Calgon's on here. Yeah, Calgon water softener.
Right. So that was in the bath after a long day of making coffee and extinguishing the scourge known as ring around the collar. You deserved a nice hot bath. Also, like I said, I would just marvel when I was a kid at the dress at night. Like everyone had slippers and does anybody wear pajamas? They had robes, slippers, pajamas. Like people got dressed to go to bed.
The Brady's sure did.
The Brady's and the Partridge Family, those kids wore more to go to bed than I wear to leave the house.
I bought pajamas recently as a novelty because it's the first time in my life I was like, oh, that would be fun to have pajamas. Never in my life has it ever occurred to me until now.
Is pajama, is it only really good for the back sleepers? Because I'm a belly side, hands under the face sleeper, and the shirts get tangled up and pulled. Like I'll put it to you this way. I've taken many a nap. Some of them were naps. Some of them were like buzzed afternoon crashing sessions, like drank too many IPAs watching the early game and stretched out for a nap. I can take a nap in jeans, tennis shoes, and a T-shirt on my back. If you flip over to the face, now we're starting to get tangled up. And back sleepers can do pajamas.
Yeah.
Face under the forearms, under the forehead sleepers, I start getting wound up in those things. All right, let me just hit JB Weld, and then we'll break and do some news. JB Weld, proud sponsor of the Adam Carolla Show, epoxy adhesive brand used by both pros and DIYers, trusted for over 50 years, and it's available at jbweld.com or wherever you get your adhesives. All right, take a quick break. We'll come back and do the news with Gina Grad right after this.
All right, whenever you're ready, Gina, we'll put your news intro and post.
I am ready.
All right, hit it.
So the city of Louisville has reached a settlement with Breonna Taylor's family in its wrongful death suit. And just to give you how quickly this number came out, earlier this morning, it was a number yet to be publicized. And as of right now, they have given the number that is a $12 million wrongful death settlement, and policing reforms, including policing reforms are also involved. According to sources close to Breonna's family, this is from TMZ, Louisville's metro government will pay $12 million and implement multiple reforms regarding law enforcement, including a requirement that commanders approve all search warrants before they go to a judge. And just to remind you of this case, Taylor was 26. She's an EMT. She was shot and killed by Louisville Metro police officers on March 13th while they were executing a no-knock warrant. I believe her boyfriend was sleeping next to her, grabbed a gun, thought it was an intruder, and there was a bit of a shootout.
Yeah, it's a case that has some nuance to it, because people are like, she's become a cause celeb, and rightfully so. But there is nuance. Like there's stuff going on in this case that people don't know, which is, this isn't a great example of like racist police. This is more like kind of bad police, or maybe even bad judges or something, because the cops get a warrant. And the warrant, so the nuts and the bolts of the case, as I've heard it, is she dated a guy who I think was a drug dealer at some point.
They're looking for an ex.
And then they broke it up,
right,
and broke it off. And they're looking for the ex. Now, they didn't find any money or any drugs or anything in her unit. But there's some credible stuff came and went from the unit at some point. I don't earlier in the month or the year, whatever it is. So they get this no-knock warrant, which I guess people, the problem with all of this stuff is people don't realize how much gray area there is. Like, if you think there's a drug dealer and they're in a unit and the drug dealer may be armed, then if you knock on the door, then the drug dealer may have an opportunity to get up, pick up their gun, and be prepared for when you come through the door or just shoot through the door. I'm speaking generically. So it's like no knock warrants, good or bad. But I don't know. There's an argument for both sides. There's an argument for not just busting in and seeing people laying in their underpants. And then there's an argument for any movie you've ever seen where it's like they knock on the door and the drug dealers all start getting armed and getting ready and getting whatever. So they have this no knock warrant. There's some account where they knocked. And I don't know what that's, some stories are they knocked anyway. But anyway, they get this no knock warrant. They come in through the front door. The boyfriend shoots at the people coming through the front door because he doesn't know who they are, I guess. He's assuming these are bad guys who have busted into this apartment. The boyfriend shoots, I guess, the lead guy, the guy who did the shooting. He gets shot in the leg by the boyfriend, and then they just return fire. And, of course, they don't hit the guy. They hit her. But this isn't a example of like white cops shooting black people in a traditional way, like in a, you know, these racist cops, whatever. They get a warrant, they go in, they get shot at, they return fire. She's tragically dead. It's tragic. She deserves a settlement. It's not as much a cut and dry, like cause celeb piece as some of the other sort of white cop, black victim cases are. But that's as much as I've heard about it. Thoughts?
Well, and I think at this point, in terms of those cops, one's been let go and two have been reassigned is where we are with them.
It's also unclear to me who issues the warrant. Like, the cops are executing the warrant, but the warrant's got to come from a judge, right? I mean, the cops don't get to make their own warrant. The cops can, I guess, request a warrant.
Well, that's part of the reform. It says including a requirement that commanders approve all search warrants before they go to a judge. So somehow, and I don't have enough knowledge of how that works, they think that would be very helpful.
Did the boyfriend get hit, Max Zapata, or did they literally just shoot the person who was not firing at them in the dark, presumably? I don't know. This one is really messy, but it does fall under the heading of bad and sloppy police work and a little less in the racist cop, you know, into that category. It's a little more in the, I don't know, it's kind of what we always talk about. Like, people are more incompetent than they are racist or bad. They're just like, this is incompetent police stuff. On the other hand, I don't know. You get a warrant, you bust into an apartment, and bullets start coming your direction, and you get hit. Like, what else? Then how else is this going to work? Right. I think the plan is for all this stuff. The de-escalation plan is the plan. Like, don't kick open the door, whatever, midnight, and expect shit not to go wrong. I don't know. Sit out front, sit in a bakery truck. Go in deep cover, wait till they get up and walk out of the front, and then just detain them and then go search the apartment. You know what I mean? Like, what do we need to kick the door?
Seems like a less risky proposition.
Yes. We do way too much of that. What time did they do that, Max Zapata?
I'll look at that. But
I'm sure you and Garagos have covered this to some extent, but I'll be interested to see what his take is on the settlement, because my guess is that's, you know, they being the police department or whatever, paid that out so as not to pay out a larger sum. That's my guess, but I don't know.
I'm seeing that the boyfriend was not shot, and it was shortly after midnight.
Oy.
The guy shooting at you doesn't get hit. The person that's not shooting at you in bed gets hit, and you get hit by the boyfriend.
Was the boyfriend who returned fire or opened fire? Was he the suspected drug
No.
dealer?
No.
Or did she just happened to have another boyfriend with guns?
Yes.
Wow.
There's a little. Her story's not as squeaky clean as we kind of have to do it now because that's the world we're living in. But yes, he was just the new boyfriend with the gun. I don't know if it's a bad neighborhood. I don't know if what he's worried about. There's more to the story. It doesn't really. It's counter a little to the narrative. So you're not really going to hear that much about it. It's not a conspiracy thing. It's just everything is kind of nuanced. You know what I mean? Like when they do this stuff where it's like there was a little more. It was a little more than just wrong place at the wrong time. Although that was a lot of it. But there's some other elements here and lessons to learn.
Yeah, so the guy that they were investigating dated Breonna 2 years prior, and then they continued to have a, quote, passive friendship.
And the new
Fuck
guy,
buddies.
just a dude with a gun, I guess. And he shot, I think, the lead guy in the leg. I think that was
Yeah, he did. He hit the first one.
was the key. All right. Well, I don't know. Why don't we just wait till the sun comes up? Look, I feel the same way. Like when I was watching. Here's a big subject, or a subject that needs to be done. I was watching. Was it Roger Stone when like the SWAT team converged
Yeah.
at Roger Stone's house? It was like 3 a.m. The dog's barking. There's like 25 SWAT guys with long rifles and stuff. This guy's an old crazy kook. Let's just tell his lawyer, hey, bring your guy in. Just bring him downtown. Like Mark tells me, Garagos tells me all the time. You tell Mark Garagos, hey, Chris Brown needs to come in. And he brings him in. That's how it works. Like, you don't have to rappel onto the roof of his house and pull him out of his house at 4 a.m. There's no need for like this show of force. You just do it in a more nuanced way. Like, okay, maybe you think there's guns, maybe you think there's drugs, maybe you think there's cash in that unit. Fine. Then surveil it when they come outside in the morning and go to work, walk up to them, put zip ties on them, tell them to sit down on the curb, and then go in with your warrant and search the unit.
Well, your example of why you have the no-knock warrant, you don't give the guy a chance, for example, to arm himself, I think is the same. I don't know the details of the Roger Stone thing, but I would assume they do that so he doesn't have a chance to, if they were to reach out to his lawyer, that's plenty of hours to destroy documents or hard drives or whatever. I would assume that you'd be a fool to, mail it or to telegraph it like that.
Well,
Right?
not according to Mark. Mark's like, or Lori Loughlin. Forget about Stone. Lori Loughlin. Didn't they just tell her to turn herself in?
Yeah.
They don't need 25 SWAT guys to go get Roger Stone or Lori Loughlin.
Well, and also, to Brian's point,
Destroy all your shit, then destroy all your shit. Like, his lawyer and he knows this day is coming. Like,
Right.
do it over the course of months. Like, just destroy it from Jump Street.
well, and like talking about this is why they have no-knock warrants, so somebody doesn't arm themselves and shots aren't exchanged. Well, how well did that work out in this case?
Not
It's
well.
exactly what happened.
The 12 million, if you would talk to Mark about this, that number is much higher than he normally gets for innocent working folk being killed. I mean, it's like 300 grand. Normally, that number probably has to do with the media that surrounded this, that is
It's a
pumped.
high-profile
it up.
case.
High profile, yes.
And speaking real quick of, I wasn't going to include this, but I think it makes sense just because now it is getting national attention. Speaking of high profile, as of last night, it was on national news.
Someone's backing up by Brian's house. Is that you?
All right. Oh, that could be me. That could be me. You know where
I'll turn my mic off. See if it goes
Hold
away.
on.
Bonnie, Brian's got a window there, so I'm looking at.
Oh, no, that's definitely me. The studio's in the back of the house. That's me. Sorry.
It's not your fault. It's the man's fault. We shouldn't have that on the back of
It
everything.
is the man's fault. Two officers, oh my God. Now they're like in my driveway. Two officers got shot in Compton sitting in their patrol car the other night. And this is such a crazy story because there's surveillance of a guy running up to the window, shooting off, whatever he had in his gun, running off. It hit the woman police officer like in the jaw, like in the face. And her partner was very, very badly wounded as well. With her jaw bleeding and face mangled, she crawled to her partner, put a tourniquet on him, called it in, all this stuff where you couldn't even understand her because of where she got shot. They're now in stable condition at the hospital, and they're still looking for the one guy. They also say that guy, he may not have had, he may have acted alone. It's very weird.
Story's insane.
Yeah, and it's like she's like 31-year-old.
31-year-old mom.
Hispanic
He's
lady,
24.
a 6-year-old. Like, I don't know. Is this really what we're talking about with our war on
Out of the
cops?
academy. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, you keep putting it out there that cops are trying to execute you and cops are your enemy and cops are, you got a target on your back if you're of this group or that group. And yeah, more cops are going to get shot in the face. Like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't that be the natural reaction to all our talk about how evil and systemically racist cops are? Why wouldn't more of this happen? I'd be completely surprised if it didn't happen more and more often, because we just keep pushing this narrative out. The cops are evil and they're racist. So, okay, go shoot a cop. Makes sense to me. Sad. And it's also
don't isolate that drop.
also sad when and the mom and the shot. It's all such a waste and it's so senseless. And look, there's a lot of wasted. I do, as someone who has this sort of obsession with efficiency, I do sit around and just marvel at the insane waste. Like, just shoot the person, then the person's got to get rushed into surgery. The scariest part of this whole thing is they were trying to get these two rushed into the emergency room, and a group had like surrounded the emergency room, and they were like, don't let them in, like, let them die. Like, there was a group who had gathered in front of the emergency room who did not want the ambulance to be able to let them into the hospital, which is we're now in crazy cuckoo zone. We're crossing into bizarro land where the lady cop and her 24-year-old partner gets shot in the face, and then a group gathers at the hospital and is like, let them die. Like, don't let them in. Jesus, goddamn. That's we're crossing into uncharted, bizarro, evil world land stuff now, where groups of people are at the fucking hospital. Ugh. All right, we got to move out of LA, people. We got to go to Utah.
You're already there, buddy.
Yeah.
Stay where
You're
you
in
are.
Nashville.
I'm telling you, man. Sides. How good was that drive to Nissan, Maxipat? How clean were the sides of those freeways?
I noticed that. It was a beautiful drive.
Bucolic.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I don't know. Did you guys hear that story that people had gathered up at the emergency room?
Yeah, I saw the video that I don't know if it was taken by Josie Huang or whoever the non-credentialed or credentialed reporter that got arrested. It was like, by that point, it was like 5 dudes. 2 of them had flags. They were just staring at the guys, staring at the cops, the security guards yelling at them. I mean, I guess that's a group, but it was like 5 dudes just being assholes. From the video that was posted on Twitter.
That's it. I just heard it. What flag? What flag?
I don't understand. It's black, green, and red. And I've seen that before, but I should have looked into what the meaning of that is.
Are you sure? I didn't hear this part. Are you sure they were there blocking the cops from arriving? Because, well, first of all, I don't know how 5 people could do that. But my question is, how were they mobilized so quickly? How would they find out that it happened? Because that dude was on foot. How would they know where the cops were being you know what I mean? Like, unless they were very coordinated.
I only know from the story I heard. I just heard it on the radio driving into LAX. I don't know. I don't know how many people are. I guess there's an emergency room. I don't know, County USC or like whatever the local place is.
Well, even if there's one guy standing in the in front of your car, it's hard to move. You know, you can't-
I don't know. Maxipata can
by the
do
way,
his due diligence.
the green, red, and black flag is the Afro-American flag, Pan-African flag, also known as the Black Liberation flag. That's the one that the two guys had.
Oh, I remember that from the IHOP when I was growing up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let me hit. Let's see if you can find that story, Maxipata, or you guys can find it. I don't know how many people, but there was a group.
I did hear that there was a group chanting whatever it was, "Let them die," which is abhorrent, but I didn't know when they got there.
Well, evidently before. I mean, that's what I heard. All right. Cooler Shock reusable premium ice pack, colder than ice by 14 degrees. Not too shabby, people. And cleaner. No bacteria-laden water left in your cooler. Made in the U.S. of A. Average 4.7 stars on Amazon. Over 6,800 reviews on Amazon. I use Cooler Shock. Drew has it. We all have it. It's great. You put it in the freezer. Don't deal with the ice. The ice melts. The ice makes a mess. And it's ready when you need it. Avoid the trip to the store during the quarantine. They got a variety of soft and hard packs. Even a 16-pound pack with a thermometer built in. Fishing, camping, hunting, long road trips, whatever you like, it is. Or going to the farmer's market. So for the best pricing, go to coolershock.com. Use the coupon code ADAM for 10% off your order and free shipping. Or find them on Amazon, coolershock.com. All right, what else we got? You find anything, Max Patter, or anybody?
I just emailed it to Chris. It just, give him a second because I literally just sent it during the commercial.
Technology, man. We're sitting here in Max Pata's bed. He's got his computer and he's got his mixer and his
Twin bed.
board there. Got the mics and the headphones. Like, you guys are back in LA. I'm in Tennessee. Barely a glitch. I mean, got to stop and appreciate that. In the past, I used to travel. I'd go with Drew. We'd have to find the local affiliate, and sometimes the local affiliate was like 30 miles away from where we were staying.
Oh, yeah.
We'd go there in the middle of the night, and the guy'd have to let us in, and sit down and plug everything in. Like, we'd have to go find a building to do this, not Max Apata's mini suite up here.
Credit to, before we get to this, credit to Chris and Dawson and Kayla and everyone who making this work.
Oh, yeah.
It's, not easy.
Thanks, guys.
So Chris just put on the screen from the LA County Sheriff's Twitter to the protesters blocking the entrance and exit of the hospital emergency room, yelling, "We hope they die," referring to 2 LA sheriffs ambushed today in Compton. Do not block emergency entries and exits to the hospital. People's lives are at stake when ambulances can't get through. And then I sent Chris a video.
I don't want to split hairs, but they're blocking the entrances and exits after the fact? They're already there. See what I'm saying? Like, they're in critical care or emergency room, whatever. That was my question. I don't know the answer.
I'm only saying what I heard, which is they were trying to block the exit or the entrance for these officers. That's the way I heard it. That's all.
Yeah, go ahead.
I
Sorry.
agree. You'd have to move. I mean, you'd have to be aware of this story, and then you'd have to hustle it on over to the emergency room. But that's the only version of it I heard.
Yeah, and then Gina sent me a tweet from someone saying, "I live in LA, which there were all of 3 to 4 people, and they weren't shouting, 'Let them die.' It appears as though LA County Sheriff officers are blocking the entrance." There's a video.
Yeah, here we go. So 4 or 5 guys, one with the giant, 2 with a flag, yelling at the security guards.
All right. No, it's only a very small group of people, but the fact that one person showed up is a sad testament.
It's gross.
Today.
Well, it's a gross story either way. Let's not let that get buried.
Yeah. So Dancing with the Stars started, and Carol Baskin, who everyone's sort of intrigued with ever since the Tiger King docuseries came out, danced her little dance in a little tiger-themed performance. But that's not what's getting headlines today. Viewers of that docuseries know that Baskin has denied playing a role in her first husband, Jack, they call him Don Lewis, 1997, his disappearance and death. So the Lewis family, his ex-wife and grown daughters, made it clear that they aren't giving up on finding answers to what happened to him and if Carol was involved, thanks to a commercial that aired during the show's premiere. And apparently Carol was informed that this commercial was about to air minutes before she went to dance.
Oh, no.
So here is the commercial that the family ran. I'm just showing you the end, with an attorney in the middle of Dancing with the Stars.
Don Lewis mysteriously disappeared in 1997. His family deserves answers. They deserve justice. Do you know who did this or if Carol Baskin was involved?
A $100,000 reward has been funded. You can call the tip line at 646-450-6530.
Or call our office at 800-LITIGATE. Thank you.
It's the best audio they come up with.
In the middle of their living room, the high ceilings.
Well, let's not bury the lead. How'd Johnny Weir look out there?
His odds are down at 225. You jumped on at the right time, man.
Jumped on at 4-1. How did it shake out? I got in at 1 a.m. I hit the ground running this morning. I really have no idea how it's panning out. Max Pata said he TiVo'd it, but he's not. I don't know if he's able to watch it or not. Yet. Is there? How'd Weir do? Is it? What scores did he get? Come on, Max Pata. We've got 10 conversations about this. What'd Weir get? You get 10s?
AJ McLean must have done poorly because his odds have gone all the way up to 7.5 to 1, 750 plus 750.
Weir?
No, that's AJ McLean.
Oh yeah. Come on, Max Pata. This is
got real money on this.
Got real money riding on this. Look, the guy's dead. He's dead. What's done is done.
Oh my God.
This is 5 large. I'm living for today. You understand? How do we even enter this news cycle without a breakdown of numbers? All right, I'll buy you a second, Max Pata. Let me hit LifeLock. Since the start of the pandemic, there's been a 300% increase in cybercrime. Hackers are getting more sophisticated, taking advantage of teleconference accounts as well. It's important to understand how cybercrime and identity theft are affecting our lives. Every day we put our information at risk on the internet. Cyber criminals keep finding new ways to steal identities. You could miss certain threats if you're just monitoring your credit alone. LifeLock detects a wide range of identity threats, like your social security number, for sale on the dark web. If they detect the info, then they will let you know, and they'll send you an alert. And you deserve to know if they're stealing your info. It's 2000 and almost 21. Protect yourself with LifeLock, right, Dawson?
No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but you can find out if your information is on the dark web. Get your free dark web scan at lifelock.com/scan. Pick the plan that's right for you and save up to 25% off your first year with promo code Adam. That's a free scan at lifelock.com/scan and 25% off with promo code Adam.
All right, Johnny Weir. It's got to be all over the place, right? Don't all the results have to be?
Yeah, the site's taking forever to load. I'm scrolling to it right now.
But they must be.
Oh, I got it right here.
Gina, Grad, and Bryan. There must be a who scored what last night list.
See.
I have it.
Right?
Yeah,
okay, what do we
here.
got?
Johnny Weir, he danced the cha-cha to Buttons by the Pussycat Dolls. Score of 18. Yeah, not the highest.
What? That's 6s all the way across. What's the meaning of this?
And he's really dancing. They're not just pushing him around the stage like they do with Carol.
They're doing the curve thing. They're taking points off. They're giving. Oh no! See, when I did it, it was like Christy Yamaguchi, you're awesome. Jeff Ross, you suck. What's wrong with you? And it's like, well, he's a comedian and she's a ice dancer.
Oh, you can't tell who the professional is.
Why do you get a 6? Why do you get 6s? Oh, this does not bode well. Max Zapata was worried about this. They're like, they're going to grade him on a curve because they know he's a pro.
But he looks like a pro. What's the problem?
Yeah, I was going to say.
The problem is, when I did Dancing with the Stars, I was completely prepared for them to go, Christy Yamaguchi, that was awesome, but you've been doing this since you were 5. I mean, and then Adam Carolla, that basically sucked, but you're a stand-up comedian, so we'll give you a little help, a little love. We'll grade it on a little bit of a curve. We'll make it a little bit. They were like, Christy, you were awesome, 10s all the way down. Carolla, that sucked. You get 4s. That was it. Like, and I remember being like a little bit confused. Like they'd go, "Your merengue's like weak, dude," and I'm like, "I'm from North Hollywood. I work construction. I never even know what this is. I don't know what this is."
I thought merengue was high.
Yeah, I thought I was going to get a little something. They didn't do any kind of curve. I just saw Weird dance quite nicely, and if he got 18, then they're working a curve in because I got 6s and I sucked.
Yeah, he tied AJ McLean from the Backstreet Boys and also tied Anne Heche.
Oh
no.
What?
We're worried on the drive in about Nelly. We're all worried about Nelly.
Right. We were in the car talking about Nelly. He got a 16, but I did see a clip of his. He did the backflip, which he
pulled the backflip out too early.
Way too early.
Didn't he dance to his own song?
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Baller move.
I'm like a bird, I only fly away. I love that. I don't know where my home is. I don't know where my nest is. But I love that guy. That guy's awesome, man.
Promiscuous
angelic.
girl.
Yeah, I'm like a bird. I do a little backflip. I don't know where my home is. Yeah, man. I'm digging that, Nelly.
The high scores of the night. Nev Schulman from Catfish. He did Foxtrot to
Neve.
Neve Schulman, excuse me. He got a 20.
Fucking racist.
So did Caitlin Bristow, who was a guest recently last time we were here in Nashville. She got a 20. And Sky Jackson got a 21.
Who's Sky Jackson?
Or Sky Jackson.
The world's best stunt pilot.
It's a girl.
You never heard of Sky Jackson winning those Red Bull competitions?
I had the action
threading the
figure,
needle.
yeah.
The day he showed up at flight school, like, son, you were born to do this.
Sky Jackson, you're with Maverick and Iceman. Now get going.
Sky Jackson in the world of tomorrow.
All right, so something's going. Oh, this is interesting because when I did it, they would give out a 10. If you kicked ass, you got a 10. So somebody. All right, here's what's going on. All right, so this helps a little with my Johnny Weir business because 18, when I did it, I got 18, right? So it's like 18, okay, so the decree must have been stop giving perfect 10s to everyone all along the way. It's going to ruin it for the finale.
Oh, sure.
So by the time Christy Yamaguchi got to the finale, she'd done 11 dances and they'd all got 10s straight on through. And I guess they're trying to stop doing that now. So if the highest score is 21, that's weird because when I did it, 7s were there were 7s. Like, it was fine. C minus, B plus, you know what I mean? And 8 was, 9 and 10 was 10. So if the highest is a 7, then they're doing the whole thing on a curve.
Yeah, and
anyway.
Disney star Justina Machado also got a 21.
And 21 is as high as we had.
Highest, yeah.
All right, but I still think Weir looks like he's got the right stuff, right?
Yeah, it's not him. It's not. He doesn't have the problem.
All right. Let me hit Geico, and then we'll roll into the sports. I'm like a bird. I really did. Geico, right now, Geico's offering an extra 15% credit on car, motorcycle, and RV policies. That's up to 15% on top of the money Geico could already be saving you. So what are you waiting for, man? Get with Geico. Save all that do-re-mi. Never been a better time to switch Geico. Save an extra 15% when you switch by October 7th. That's geico.com. Geico.com. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with Cesario and do the sports right after this.
Oh, brother, Chet Waterhouse with the Betonline mini update sponsored by Beige, the color with no holiday baggage. NFL, Giants get pummeled by the Steelers like a drunk vegan at a Ruth's Chris. NBA, league says the 2020-2021 season won't start till after Christmas, which will give the league a solid 72 hours to steam clean the bubble. And finally, this just in, each corner for the fight between 54-year-old Mike Tyson and 51-year-old 60-year-old Roy Jones Jr. will be allowed a trainer and a cut man and a urologist. This mini update sponsored by Medieval Knievel, the jousting daredevil. Over to you, Jeff. All right, let's dive right in. Surfing. Yeah, you heard me. Surfing. Maya Gabeira smashes her own world record by riding a 73.5-foot wave. She's a Brazilian big wave surfer. This was at Nazaré in Portugal. And apparently there's some sort of deep sea canyon that helps generate these like insane waves. And she broke her own. It's amazing. I believe we have the footage. I don't know if we have the ability. Here you go. Watch this. Wow. This is ludicrous.
It is insane.
I would rather jump out of a plane 10 times than do this one time ever.
Crazy.
That can be arranged.
It's crazy.
But that's the thing. There's nothing scarier than seeing that.
By the way, in terms of description and what happened, like when the wave closes out and comes down on you, it's, by the way, these descriptions are always the exact same. It's like, oh, it's like 1,000,000 gallons of water landing on you, and then you just get thrown around like a rag doll, and you don't know which way up is, and then you see the light. It's like everyone has these crazy stories, and I think, and I don't know, like it's kind of curious what the old-time big wavers do, because the new wave guys get pulled in with the Sea-Doos, and they can get rescued with the Sea-Doos, because if you don't get rescued, you're just out there in the middle of that swell, and you'll just get destroyed. So I don't know if they think of being pulled in, like towed in, if that's cheating, like when the old school guys would just have to be out there just waiting on their longboards with no protective, they got boats and Sea-Doos and all that kind of stuff, but it's still insane. And it's insane that we shot right past 50 feet and we're now at 70 something feet,
75, and
we're going for 100. I don't know what's the record.
Isn't the men's record 80 and the women's is 75?
And then
she broke her own record.
She broke her own, so she already broke it. Yeah.
What, she broke her own women's record?
Right.
Yeah, women's record. Yeah.
The record, and then also, how do they measure them? You know what I mean?
They have to go to a I want to say USC. Somebody here does it. One of the universities here measures it.
Mm-hmm.
They have
Pepperdine, right? Aren't they
I know.
The waves. They're the waves. Yeah.
They have some way of measuring it. All that information comes out here.
Oh, towed out by a Sea-Doo, driven by a Portuguese kid making $1 a month. I'm not sure. I trust that whole process.
What's more dangerous and less thankless, the Sea-Doo,
the tow
guy, or the rodeo clown? Because they're both insanely dangerous and both really don't get a ton of credit.
The rodeo clown, because the clown is in the name. You're already being belittled.
If two dudes were at a bar and one said, "Oh, I tow out the guy that does the 80-foot wave," I'd be like, "Really?" And if the guy was like, "I have run around with big pants and seltzer," and everybody points at me and then I get gored, I'd be like, "Well, good luck to you. I think I hear my pies burning. I gotta go."
But the guy,
don't underestimate the guy who loads the skeet. That's not an easy job either.
Speaking of Gina's pie burning, that means you do like the guy when your pie's really burning.
Yeah, I got to go home and get some topical cream.
Oh, that pie.
Oh, nub glove.
I thought you meant the travel pants pie. I didn't know you meant this stuff.
No, not the
that
box
item sponsored by Gunga Dan's for really mild Indian food. Try Gunga Dan's. What do we got for the hey? Don't we got Betonline? We got odds coming up here, don't we?
Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you about Betonline. We got football. Football is back, man. You might not be aware of it, but I'm telling you now, man, it is up and running. Go to BetOnline, get in on some of these games. Sunday's coming up. We got Falcons at Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are coming back in that game. I think they had a bad call. They're a decent team, and I think they're going to bounce back nice. Bills, Dolphins, Rams, Eagles, Vikings, Colts, Panthers, Buccaneers, Patriots, Seahawks. That's going to be a good one. More options to wager in any other place online, from spreads and totals and props. It's all there at BetOnline. And you can get in on season opening bonuses and wager on wins or division championship futures. Head to BetOnline. Do it today. Take advantage of all the great sign-up bonuses at BetOnline. That's betonline.ag, our exclusive partner, Podcast One. And don't forget, use the promo code Podcast One for that free sign-up bonus today. All right, what else we got?
Yeah, well, here's the hot bet on the Bet Online. You got Thursday Night Football. This is very interesting. Number one pick versus number one pick. Joe Burrow, number one draft choice, Cincinnati Bengals, versus Baker Mayfield, Cleveland Browns, number one draft pick a couple of years ago. Browns favored by 6 points versus the Bengals. And the money line on the Browns is minus 250. So you got to bet 250 to make 100. And I don't know. The Browns looked horrible against
I agree.
against the Ravens.
The Bengals were doing pretty good. Joe Burrows looked pretty good. They were leading, I think, a lot of the game.
Yeah.
The Browns looked bad. To me, take the money line and take the Bengals, right? There's not a lot of home team advantage anymore with, no one in the stands. I just feel like the Bengals, I feel like, would win that game outright. And Burrows, that kid's tough. He had a good, tough run. He scored on a 15-yard scamper, 12-yard scamper. He looked good. He's also like one of those guys that one of the main things you want is these guys who not only compete, but they compete with themselves. Like he got out there, he did a press conference. He's like, I give myself a D. That was not a good. He didn't get up there and go, there's some bad calls by the refs and coaches were making calls or drop balls or anything. He just go, I give myself a D. I didn't play well. I'm coming back. I like that. I feel like that's a Tom Brady-esque mentality. And that's what, because you hear all these guys, they all have the gifts. They all have the physical ability. They're all phenoms. It's that one little part where they kind of internalize and want to come back. And, I think that kid's got it. So, I like the Bengals in that game.
Coachable. That's what I say about that kid. Besides, you lose to Cincinnati, it's like losing to a libertarian in a big election. It's like, oh, God, I'm just going home.
What are you doing
I just have to go home. Yeah, exactly. So that's your line. That's your Bet Online line for the week. You guys dissected the Dancing with the Stars. I do like the fact that Charles Oakley is plus 10,000 to win it all, which maybe that's a bet.
Throw a couple bucks on Oak.
Got the second lowest score of the night. Carol Baskin got 11. Charles Oakley got 12.
Wow, man.
She earned every bit of it.
They have recalibrated, man, and they're being tough. You was almost impossible to get anything below a 5, like when I did it, and they've obviously coached them up. So now is Johnny Weir still the favorite? Where's Furtado? What are we talking about? So what are the power rankings? Do you have any there? Have them there, Jeff or Brian?
Weir's at plus 225. Caitlin Bristow's at plus 300. Sky Jackson plus 500, and AJ McLean tumbling a little bit to plus 750. But that's a pretty packed. If they were coming down the stretch in the Kentucky Derby, it's still anybody's race.
Yeah, my take on it was AJ was bumped up because he's in a boy band, and that didn't have as much to do with this as we thought it would. He was, for a moment, remember, he was the favorite at the very beginning. Yeah. He was 450 to 4 versus Weir's 450. But anyway, what else you got, Chet or Jeff?
Well, talk about the technology and the incredible reach of social media. The internet went crazy when NBA fans found out that Giannis Antetokounmpo, Milwaukee Bucks MVP, had unfollowed all of his Bucks teammates and the organization. This after saying publicly, because he's going to be a free agent in like a year, he said, love Milwaukee, I'm coming back. Then he cancels all the Bucks. And, I'm from Wisconsin, love Milwaukee, I'm already smelling foul. Nobody loves Milwaukee. So,
wait a minute. How about the big ragu of Laverne and Shirley? I'd say that little paisan loved Milwaukee.
Is it
Giannis? I'm going to talk to him. I go, look, Giannis, you're going to leave the home of the big ragu, Laverne and Shirley, Mr. DeFazio. Really, Shamazel? That's the place you want to live? You want to leave the place that has the Fonzie, the 1/22nd scale Fonzie statue and the
Yeah.
Actual size.
and when I think I talked to him about the big ragu, I think it's going to kind of come. I think he's going to turn the corner.
He'll snap out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly sort of negotiating through social media and flexing and signaling without really doing anything legally, any sort of moves, which is now a tool by which smart athletes are negotiating. And it's kind of impressive in a way. I mean, because the Bucks came back like immediately and said, we will spend everything to build around you. Now, I don't know what everything means. I don't know if they've got a pipeline to Harley Davidson money in Milwaukee. I have no idea, but this all happened 45 years ago with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So, they're reliving it. Hopefully they can actually pull it off. I'd like to see small market teams retain some of these big stars and maintain the competitive quality of the NBA, or it's just going to turn into Major League Baseball where there's 3 teams at the top and nobody cares.
Yeah, Kareem was a buck back in the day. Well, I've said it once, I'll say it again. Nobody knows how to manipulate social media like the Greeks. I'm sorry.
And said many times.
That sounds like
Here it is again.
an old trope, but it deserves to be. This is why it's an old trope. This is why.
That item sponsored by Motorboats, the restaurant that's just a little more fun than Hooters. You've got the Tennessee Titans, Stephen Gostkowski, their place kicker, missed 3 field goals and an extra point before hitting a meager 25-yard game winner, after which he was absolutely mobbed by his teammates. I didn't think an entire squad, especially Tennessee, was capable of that level of sarcasm, but they must have got together and pulled it off. He hits a 25-yarder, which honestly, if any of the 4 of us had a gun to our heads, we could probably make a pretty good shot at a 25-yarder. And, of course, Gostkowski's standing there just like, please, don't. What are you doing? Don't do this. This is like getting thanked for burning the barbecue, but you wash the dishes well.
Yeah, you're soaking in it, Madge. I feel that it's weird. It's that kind of thing where it's like when the guy misses the free throw and everyone has to do the hand touch thing. Like, he just missed the free throw. We don't need to do the fist bump. Like, we got it. I mean, first off, we're capable of expressing emotions with our eyes, right? Can't you just look at the guy in the free throw stripe who missed it and go, sorry, man? Like, I know you're trying to make free throws and you're at 63%, so X amount of them are gonna clank out. But it is weird because he felt weird because he'd lost the game through 3.5 quarters through missing extra points and field goals, maybe an extra point. I can't remember, but
1 extra point, 3 field goals.
And then when he missed
everything.
And then, of course, it'd be great if he made a 54-yarder at the end, but he made an extra point length field goal at the end, and then everyone had to come up to him, and he was like, I realized I shit the bed today. Like, it was weird. I felt weirdly bad.
But is it a contract ploy by the other guys who are, I'm sure, constantly being pressured to be team players? This is a team game. Support your teammates, so that then, their agents can go at contract time and go, look, he ran right out and patted the field goal kicker right on the ass after he shit the bed.
I don't know, but I have a Bill Maher-esque new rule here, which is if you're a DB and the guy drops the touchdown, you're not allowed to do the big hand wave off thing, signaling to the crowd. Like, that's a drop. Like, that guy was open. He dropped the ball. He burned you or your teammate, and he did, in fact, drop the ball. But that's not because you did your job skillfully, and you don't get to do the big hand wave. And when the guy misses the 23-yard chip shot field goal, you're not allowed to do the big wave-off thing. Junior college kickers hit that in the 96th percentile. You didn't get a finger on it. That had nothing to do with you. That's just that guy just shit the bed. You're not allowed to celebrate because that guy's going to be cut on Monday or Tuesday.
This is where football needs a yellow card. That should be a warning.
And
like excessive idiocy.
Do you cut? I mean, when a guy misses 3 field goals in a game and an extra point or two. Did you miss 3 in an extra point? Is
He
that
missed 3 field goals and I think 1 extra point.
That's right.
do you cut him at that point?
You'd be within your
Well,
rights.
Yeah, that might have been a going away party at the 25-yard line.
I'm kind of saying because kickers sometimes become like boxers who take a bad knockout, like a bad beating. Like they're not psychologically right. Like when a fighter really takes a beating and a bad knockout, sometimes they don't come back. It's like it's in them. You know what I mean? Like last time this happened to me. Like, I don't know. I mean, he's a seasoned vet. Who the hell knows? But all right, let's bring it home, Jeff.
You got it. This is Chet Waterhouse for All Balls, All Sports, reminding you to play with pain.
All right, let's see. You can go to, I think Tempe Improv going to be there this weekend. We'll be doing some live stand-up there and some live pods there as well. John Holmberg's going to be there on the 18th for the live pod, and then Rob Schneider will be there on the 19th. Salt Lake City, Wise Guys, coming up October 2nd and 3rd. And we're doing a live Reasonable Doubt there, like a matinee show. I think it's at 4 o'clock, as I recall, on Saturday, if Gary told me. Right, so enjoy that. Live shows all over the place. Go to AdamCarolla.com for everything you need in the book, Your Emotional Support Animal, as well. And thanks to Max Zapata for letting me use his room. Until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Bryan, Gina, Grad, and Jeff Cesario saying mahalo.
All right, thanks, guys.
Have fun.
See ya. Yeah, have fun.
All right, Chris, you're going to send me everything?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Do I need to stand by for outro?